Hello everyone, Rod over here. Hope you're having a great day. Today we are going to talk about how to get your first design client. This is a topic that I get asked a lot by people that are just starting in the field, so I wanted to make a video about it and share my personal experience. I have been designing for the past 10 years, and initially when I was starting out, I mostly did a lot of print design, logo design, websites and things like that. Whereas now I focus much more on digital product design. I currently work as a head of design for a tech startup, but I have been doing client work for most of my career next to my full-time job. This video is tailored much more towards people that are just starting out in the industry. I was thinking about doing something like a series and cover more designer related topics about getting a job in a startup as a designer and how to structure your portfolio properly. So let me know in the comment section below if you would like to see more of this kind of content. Before we get into it, I just want to point out that there are so many ways on how to get your first design client. There's no set guidelines for what you need to do first to achieve this. In this video, I'll be sharing what worked for me and what I did when I was starting my design journey. When you're just starting out your design career, it's important to have some sort of skill that you can offer as your service. This could be, for example, designing websites, making videos, creating social media visuals, print design, etc. You don't need to be pro at it, but it's a good start to know what your skill sets are and focus on these. When I landed my first client, I had been designing for about 2 years at a time. I had a small portfolio of stuff I had done previously. These were mostly client work for people that knew of me through my family or friends. None of these were clients that I approached myself. So at this time I was like, all right, I need to get some client and start making a little bit of money and start making connections. So I found a restaurant, a burger place, because I love burgers. And I checked their social media accounts and they had really poor visuals. So I went there in person and I asked if I could speak to the manager, and the manager comes down and I'm like, hey, I think I can do a better job at the visuals that you have right now. The important thing to remember here is to obviously not sound arrogant. There is a thin line between sounding confident versus arrogant. So when you approach someone, you shouldn't be like, oh, this looks like shit and I can do a better job. It's more about selling yourself and what you can do for their business. Anyway, back to the story. I explained what I could do for them. At the time, it was a lot of graphic design, so menu cards, flyers, social media visuals and stuff like that. And he actually didn't even ask for my portfolio or anything like that. Instead, he just said, prove it. And then we agreed that I would do some social media visuals and that I would show up the next day and then we would take it from there. So I went straight home, did the visuals. I actually did a couple of different versions, show up the next day, presented it, and I got them as a client. Since then, we ended up collaborating for a couple of years, and I would get a burger for free every time I showed up. And obviously I got paid for all my work. So at this point I was like, all right, this strategy worked. Now let me try it again. So this time I found an e-shop that was selling men accessories. I checked their social media and they were posting these quotes with some nice pictures every week, So I did like super minimal template with a nice picture and good font. And I sent them a message on Facebook saying something like, hey guys, I really like what you're doing and I noticed that you're posting on social media, blah, blah, blah. And I did this template that you can use for free if you want. And they replied that they were super happy, that they liked it. And again, we ended up collaborating and working together. And then I continued doing this with a couple more businesses until I got to around 5, 6. And at that time, what happened is that I started getting recommendations. So for example, the burger place I mentioned previously knew another restaurant that needed visuals. The guys that were running the online store knew some people that were just starting a new business and needed visuals. And sort of like the word of mouth effect happened, and I ended up pretty much having regulars. I didn't need to reach out to any more clients because I was pretty much fully booked. And remember, at this time, I was still in high school studying, so I was only doing this on the side. So it was nice to get some cash on the side, and I built some really good relationships with some of my clients. And until this day, they still reach out to me whenever they need something. But now you might be asking, how do I do all of this? Where do I find those places? What should I write them? How much should I charge? So let's take this step by step. This is what I would recommend if you are just starting out. Number 1, do your research. Think about a place in your city or your area that you like. Now, when you like, for example, coffee, then obviously don't go to Starbucks, but instead find a local coffee shop. Check out their website, social media, and how they present themselves online. If the quality of these visuals is worse than what you think you can do, you have a higher chance of landing them as a client. If they have some nice visuals, that are consistent throughout the brand and throughout the social media, and you can really tell that it was done by a professional, then there's a higher chance that they already have someone or an agency or some person. You can still try and reach out to them, but you'll have a higher chance of landing the client with poor or no visuals at all. When I say visuals, it could be anything, logo, social media posts, videos, website, whatever, you name it. Step number 2, approaching your potential client. If you can, go there in person and talk to them. Don't go in there with the thought that you need to walk out of there with a done deal, but try to talk to the owner or the manager, explain some of the things that you notice that could be done better and how you can help them achieve that. Talk about the stuff that you can do directly. There is no point of telling them that they have a bad website if you don't know how to make it better. Again, try not to sound arrogant, be humble, and just simply explain them what you can do for their business and how it could help them. If you're not comfortable with going there in person, trying to find their contact information online and just simply write them a message or email. There is a chance that someone will either not answer you or turn you down, but that's completely fine and normal. Just don't think about it and move on. Step number 3, pricing. I'm not a fan of free work, even though I have done it when I was starting out. But I always advise people to be transparent with your pricing. I'm not going to tell you how much you should charge, but take into consideration your area, years of expertise, and how much you value your time. You can either agree that you will be paid by an hour or paid for a project, or you could establish a long-term collaboration where they can pay you a certain amount of money every month. It all depends on you. Step number 4, execution. Pretty much just try to do your best work possible and be consistent with it. People will notice it and the word of mouth will spread and people will start approaching you directly. I didn't reach out to anyone directly for the past 7 years, and I still have people reaching out to me that have either seen my work or get referred to me from people that I either used to work with or my previous clients. Remember, even though it is 2022, there are still so many businesses out there that doesn't have a website, social media visuals, or anything like that, because they just don't know how to do it or they don't have time for it. So there's plenty of opportunities everywhere in the world. This approach that I just shared personally worked for me and for people that I have shared with. Let me know in the comment section below if there is anything else that you would like to know, or if you have done something differently, so we can all learn and grow. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Follow me on social media, stay rad, and I'll see you next time.